Hi, these flashcards were compiled to facilitate working through the MCAT-style passage, language deficits, and traumatic brain injury. And the content covered deals with the biological foundations of behavior. Blank is the inability to write. So what term describes the inability to write? That would be agraphia, and this is your handwriting region right here. This like superior medial part of like the frontal parietal cortex, okay, on the left side of the brain. So a damage to this area would impair your ability to write if it weren't like hand related directly. You didn't break your hand or something. Blank is the inability to name objects. So what term describes the inability to name objects? So that term is anomia. So damage to this like parietal, temporal, angular sulci region is going to probably have a patient presenting with anomia. That means they have a decreased output of nouns, okay? And like if you ask them to look up words in a dictionary, they would probably have trouble with that too. And because Agraphia region is like somewhere around here, sometimes patients who have anomia also present with agraphia. Okay? People with blank's aphasia produce fluent but nonsensical speech. So like they'll just have say a bunch of stuff and the words are correct, but together they don't make sense. They don't make coherent sentences or thoughts. That would be damage to Wernicke's area, and this is an actual visual of someone who suffered damage to Wernicke's area. It looks like they probably had a stroke, blood clot. And this patient, the brain, well, former patient, they actually presented with Wernicke's aphasia. Okay? So I'll give you a moment to take in this visual and don't get grossed out because if you're going to be in med school, you'll have to slowly encounter things like these, especially when you get to gross anatomy. So take it little by little, but don't get grossed out, okay? You have to be sort of detached. Blank plasticity means that some parts of the brain can adapt to perform new functions if needed. So what word describes this? This is a really cool concept, by the way. That would be neuroplasticity. So basically, let's say you have a stroke and you suffer with agraphia, you can't write. Let's say you try really hard over months to a year, and so you'll develop different neural pathways not associated with the writing area of your brain to actually start writing if you try really, really hard. That's why they say repetition is the mother of success, because the more you repeat an activity, the quicker the neural connections or the firing of the the saltatory conduction, along your nerves via the synapses and whatever, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So repetition strengthens that signal, speeds it up. It's like going from cable to fiber optic speed. Objects in the right field of vision get sent to the blank hemisphere. So if an object is in your right field of vision, which hemisphere does it get sent to? Okay, here I have highlighted the left visual field, but I really meant to highlight the right visual field. So yeah, things in your right visual field, that's like the blue side, are going to get sent to the left side of your brain, okay, which is right here. All right. Blank brain patients no longer have the ability to communicate between hemispheres. So what type of patients lose the ability to communicate between hemispheres? To be split brain patients. And the reason is they suffer damage to the corpus callosum, which is the highlighted region in the middle. It's like a bunch of connecting neural tissue and nerves. Okay.